welcome. Thank you for tuning in for our second episode. You are most welcome to join into today's conversation. My name is Kolobetso Selimena, and today I have a guest whom I'm very happy to have with me here. His name is Tshiamo Prince Mashinini. Tshiamo, you're welcome to the show. Please do tell us about yourself and how you got started with music, a bit about the music background.
As you've already said, my name is Tshiamo Prince Mashinini. I'm learning the lead guitar. Passionately love music. Yeah.
Don't they always say that they are learning?
I think it's just a whole process that never ends. So how I started music is I started music from not very young age, but from adolescent stage. It's from a church setup. You know, that's where we all started.
We all started.
Actually started as a drummer, then later switched to learning the guitar.
And how does a drummer? How do you switch from playing drums to guitar? Because now we know you as a guitarist. Yeah, no, when you mentioned drummer, like drummer, where, how?
Actually, when we started, we had just a small band in a church setup. Actually started from a band called Overflow, where they pushed us to learn more than 2 instruments.
That's
so it really helped me to switch from drums to guitar. And actually, the person who taught me gave me foundation in the music sphere is my older brother. I think you know him, Gaho Mashinini. Yeah.
Quite the musician as
and
well.
Sandy by Gatludi. Those are the 2 people that really launched me into loving and admiring music.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I know for most musicians, they have something they studied at school that has nothing to do with music. So I'm interested for what did you study at school? What do they say? They'll say, I'm a qualified what by profession, you know?
Yeah. As for me, I studied accounting.
Imagine.
Yeah, I studied accounting and yeah.
There's accounting. Like, how did you come about accounting? Did you study accounting first and then you're like, you know what, I think I want to check out this music thing, or it was music and then as you went on, maybe primary school, junior school, like let me do accounting?
I actually didn't do music at primary school. I actually didn't do music at secondary, junior school. Yeah, actually got to develop much more interest in music at senior school, from the ages of around 17.
Yeah,
16.
that's around that time.
Yeah, that's why I got involved more into music. And growing up, I never had that desire that I'll be a musician. It never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind.
Did you have any issues with balancing your schoolwork and music? You just did it as a hobby when you were away from school. You managed to get the whole thing balanced?
Yeah, with time and with the different demands from each and every one of them, you actually need to learn to balance, because at a certain point the other one will demand more than the other, depending on the workload and functions, depending on a whole lot of factors. But at the end of the day, you have to just come up and say, I just need to learn how to draw up a very comprehensive schedule that would cater for all of them. And it's not just those things, there are other things like, family, other things like your social life,
Definitely.
So it's a combination of a whole lot of factors. The balance doesn't start with music and whatever profession. It's a general thing that
and I bet there are people out there like that at junior school, that at senior school, they want to pursue music. They really want to pursue music, but they're being told, there's no opportunity for music here in Botswana. I think for me, that's what I got. I heard a lot of that. Just stay in school, do your do your accounting, do your architecture, do your finance. Just stick to that. Then you will see where does music take you. Did you have anything like that? Or what are your thoughts on that? There's no business for music here. Did you have any struggles with that, Ghana? Everything was just smooth sailing.
I think your question is it's quite tricky for me, but
Okay.
but what I would say is from the era that we grew up in, music wasn't that prominent. It's not that promoted as something that can be trusted to,
as a career.
But perspective, you get what I'm saying. But even by that time, there were people who did music who were successful. Some were teaching music, some were doing music for a living. But I wouldn't say people shouldn't pursue music because there isn't a market or there isn't anything, because at the end of the day, it's survival of the fittest. Some make it, some don't make it.
Some
You
don't.
get what I'm saying? In as much as they're educated people, some are working, some are not working. So I think we shouldn't just dwell on the current status quo of the market, but we should look on the long run as an individual.
Exactly.
Okay, me, what is it that you want to to add value?
And I think that, like you're saying, Jorge, it's about adding value. Like that, I think there are people that would just make music because it's like it's an in thing. Then I want to release a single, I want to release an album, 30 tracks, but not having to really invest in the content, invest in that craft. Jorge, I'm going to be playing guitar. This is what I want to put up. Because Ghana music happens like you're putting out a piece of yourself.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
True that.
So with Ghana, you release an album. You released an album, Restoration Behind the Veil, 15-track album. Please do tell us a bit about that album of yours.
What do you want to know?
Like, honore that people, I get it, like, okay, in the current trend that I've noticed, an artist would release a single, like single after single. From where they'll release one song, a single, as their debut single to introduce themselves, to say, hey world, I'm here, I'm Tshiamo, I'm a guitarist, right, with one song. And then I'll say, okay, an album is coming up, be on the lookout, right? But what did you do? No single. You just like 15 tracks for you.
Yeah, actually, the album. Yeah, it's the album. Actually, had more thought onto that in terms of releasing a single and releasing the whole package. But for me, it's just settled well with just checking out the whole package and So in terms of the tracks,
I think with the tracks, I've listened to the album. Job well done, by the way. It's a live recorded album. It's not a studio recorded album. You've worked with several artists, musicians.
Yeah.
There's a
recording
poet.
artist.
Recording artist. There's a poet in there. There's a violin. How do you say?
Violinist.
Violinist. Saxophones in there. Drama. There's multi languages. There's French. There's Shona, there's English.
Yeah, a couple of them.
A couple of them, and that's not very common.
Swahili. Yeah.
And there's that language, Nigeria. That language. Is it Igbo or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you say?
How do you get to say Kadu in my own? Hey, that language. Sorry.
Yeah,
What's that language, by the way? Yeah, Igbo. So I'm very interested. How did you decide on all of that? There's just a variety that's going on in there. There's the synth bass in there and organs and all that. So now I had quite a challenge trying to identify what your album is, which genre. Yeah. So I'd like for you to just maybe give us a bit of background about the people that you worked with, like the relationships that you have, and like more on the network part of it, like networks, how you got to decide what I'm going to work with this person and that person, like that.
I worked with the talented individuals in that project I've worked with. Yeah, they're like family, they're like brothers, they're like, yeah, close, very close, very close. And some of them very multi-talented. They do play several instruments, they do work beyond music, and they have different professions besides music. And in terms of working with them, they really offered depth, and they added so much value to my craft, to my music. You're looking at Thabo Chikova, who has done a couple of projects.
Yeah.
MD co-producer for Tsofatso Kwaliba.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful
other artists.
album.
You're looking at Michael Mkhatitswane. He's an artist on
as
his
well.
own.
Yeah.
And he's done a couple of projects, and he has done amazing work. You're looking at Penyo Mushodi, the pianist, and it was
quite a whole range.
Yeah. You look at Mbiganyi Mupati. He's also he does music full time. He's a professional musician by qualification. He's done music, so you really understand the depth. And you've got the likes of Ado, who was also co-vocal arranger with Thabo Chikova
For Restore.
For the whole project.
For the whole project.
Yeah. And you have the likes of Joy,
Amazing
Suzy,
vocalist.
Nyaki.
You brought
Daphne.
everyone.
So the creativity and involving a whole lot of things was based on. Actually, when I did the project, I actually sat down and tried to find creative ways of involving different instruments, different genre. Different languages. Yeah. So it's quite interesting, because we had to sit down and say, no, we feel like this song needs a grand piano, this song needs an organ, this song needs a cajon, this song needs synth bass.
So they played a part in producing the whole album.
Yeah, actually everyone played a part. I came up with the concept, just like, oh, this is how I see the song. It's like, okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Can we, play around with it there and there. But in terms of the instruments, we just had to sit down and discuss on a personal level what sound do we need on this song. If it's a piano, what type of piano do we need? If it's a bass, what type of bass do we need? Chords, do we need
synth
bass? Do we need how do we play around with sound design, and how does it suit the song?
Sound design. What you did your research. You really thought about this, eh?
Yeah, in a way.
It wasn't just like I woke up yesterday, I'm like, I want to put out an album, and then there you have it. Like, imagine you're talking about sound design. So I'm also interested in knowing, Jorge, how did you get to select one of the backing vocalists more especially? I think there's someone that wants to ask a question, not particularly about you or your work. It was something along the lines of maybe artists having to do auditions for backing vocalists, for for musicians. Sorry. Did you ever have that thought, or do you think it's necessary maybe to open up for auditions for whoever is out there, is a musician that interested in working with you, maybe put up an audition for them to work with you?
That one, it depends. It really depends on a whole lot of factors. It depends. But from my perspective, I did not feel the need to do auditions, because I already know the people in the cycle.
And who you want to work with.
And who I want to work with. And it really depends. Auditions, you can have good people, but you can call for auditions if you feel that you still need people who are relevant to what you are doing. Yeah, so in terms of auditions, it depends on what you want to do with the band and who is there in the band and how are they relevant to your music or to your craft and the chemistry of band and a whole lot of things. So the audition, I think for me it wasn't a priority because I knew what I wanted, I knew where to get it, and I knew how to get it.
Yeah.
So I really believe that for me at this stage it wasn't necessary
for
to do
you
auditions.
Okay.
And actually the people that I worked with, them on their own, they also have a strong chemistry besides working with me. They have had experience of working together for a long time. For example, Joy, Susie and Ado, they've worked together for the longest time. So having them on its own, it's a plus because they understand each other. They know what to do, they know how to do. You get what I'm saying? Miyaki and Daphne, they've worked together for some time. So having them together, it wasn't that much of a struggle.
Cool. And I think one other question that I would like to ask you is about exposure.
What about exposure?
When somebody's starting up, right? They'll get invites. They'll get invites. No, we'll invite you for this concert, for this. It's just for exposure. What are your thoughts on exposure and working with musicians?
I think artists are being abused in the name of exposure. A lot of artists are being abused in the name of exposure. But exposure, it's really important if it's administered in the right way.
Definitely.
If it's administered in the right way, and if you genuinely know that there's a type of exposure that has income, there's a type of exposure that doesn't have income. And if you're genuine, if the person that's working with you is genuine and knows that, okay, even though this is exposure, does this person really, you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You have to pay people
for that crowd.
So a seed. But exposure isn't a bad word. It's just that we're abusing it. Every time you want to exploit someone, you're saying exposure.
Okay, so Tshiamo, as we bring the conversation to a close, what can you say to someone who wants to launch their career in music, and maybe to the people that are already in the game? How can they build networks?
They must launch
into the deep, get it done.
I would actually encourage all those that have an interest in working with music to really pursue what they want to do. If you can do anything beyond music, if you can combine other things with music, it's doable. If you have other professions that you are gifted in, you can still go for it. And actually, I would also encourage them to learn from those who have gone ahead of us, and get to learn what to do and what not to do, get to learn the fundamentals of these things, get to learn characters, attitudes, behaviors, and
music theory.
Get to learn those things.
Yes,
those are very important things. And for those who are already established in music or in the market, I think it would be really, really good. It would be nice if we carry those who are starting or those who are passionate along. You get what I'm saying?
To show them the ropes.
To show them and say, this is the right way, this is the right direction. And we had people who had gone ahead of us who really encouraged us, the likes of G, the likes of
I do.
The likes of Winton, the likes of a whole lot of them. Those people who were there to keep on saying, hey, you need to push, there's still room, You know, they even gave us reviews to shows that we play. They're like, no, I think you need to improve on this. You need to work on this, work on that.
Or maybe even to want to say, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful, because I think also when you're starting up, you're just like, there's just this hunger, like I want to get this thing done, and then you end up being mixed with the wrong people, the wrong influence and stuff. So I think also just take in advice in that regard. Yeah, be careful of this one, be careful.
Yeah, true. And a couple of good musicians that I feel the young ones can learn from. You know, a couple of musicians that are very talented and have got a very good character, very good attitude, very good behavior that those coming can learn from them in terms of what to do.
And you, as one of those people, where can somebody get a hold of you when they maybe want to work with you, or they need your advice on something, where they can find your music to use for reference purposes, those kind of things, like your social media handles?
My music is available on leading digital platforms. It's available on Deezer, Spotify, Apple Music. You know, I've got a couple of videos on YouTube, and my contacts are 7524 7046 plus 267.
Yes, we are going international.
7046.
Please do say the number again.
Plus 267 7524 7046. And you can also get hold of me on Facebook, Tshiamo Mashinini. Tshiamo Mashinini.
Are there any hard copies available? How much is a hard copy?
Hard copies are definitely available. They go for 130, and very soon we'll be having our DVD out, which will be going for 150.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation. All right, that's all we had for you on today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to get a copy of Tshiamo's album. Be sure to follow him on his social media handles. And to mark the close of this episode, we have a short clip from one of his performances. Enjoy.
I'm tired of preaching that I love your word when my mind doesn't submit to your will. Father, I come to you. I surrender my all. I give you my all, my everything. I give to you. Oh Lord, restore my soul. Oh Lord, you restore my soul. Yeah, transform my life, transform my mind. In sin, oh God, I ask you to heal me, oh Lord, that I might walk in your way. I'm asking you to lead me in your spirit.